since week 12, Lawrence leads the NFL in passer rating. He has thrown for 300-plus yards in at least 3 games, with at least 3 touchdowns in 3 of the 4 games overall. However, the Jets, they have surrendered 0 or 1 passing touchdown in every game since week 4. That's how good this defense has been.
What do you think of the automatic move just because of cold and rain and a 5-point move on the total?
I don't think rain really affects much.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Well, it affected Lawrence in the Philly game, but turnovers here would lead to points though too. That's the other thing. I don't think that's
So
I don't want to go under 37 now. I mean, you missed it.
No, neither do I.
Do it.
No, if you miss that move.
I'd go over right now.
So his yardage prop tonight is 214.5 combined.
Yep.
So everything's baked in here, right? The defense he's taking on and the weather. But it was Zach Wilson's 197.5.
Yeah, he was. I mean, the numbers looked good last week, but he didn't do much. I mean, the 2 long plays were, the busted play late, the 4th and 18 50-yard pass, and again, he scored 17 points against the Lions, which one of them they were kind of gift wrapped after Campbell tried another silly 54-yard field goal, and they had a short field.
Yep.
But that's again, what kind of game plan is it? How bad is the weather? And are they looking more with the rushing attack and pounding the night?
Yep. We pointed out earlier that both offensive lines are kind of weak. In fact, Pro Football Focus ranks the Jets 30th with the offensive line going into this game. The Jags are ranked 22. I'll tell you right now, personally, I'm beginning a 2-week championship session in my one fantasy league.
Well,
it's a double week. How about that?
I like that.
I have Etienne on my bench as of right now. I could change, but I don't love him tonight. The Jets allow the 10th fewest rushing yards and 5th fewest touchdowns to opposing running backs, and in the last 7 games, only one team's runners have scored on the ground or in the air, and no runner has topped 86 yards since the Jets back in week 5. It's a very good defense. Mm-hmm. I mean, all the information is right there.
Okay.
All the numbers point that way.
Is this a playoff team if Hall didn't get hurt? He was having a great year.
They probably had both winners for Rookies of the Year.
Probably had that. You're right. He was the favorite when he got hurt.
Yep. So consider what I just said about the Jets' offensive line. Now, Zonovan Knight, and I'll give you this. This is from our buddy Paul Charchian's website, guillotineleagues.com. Charcher's coming up a little bit later on in the show. So, he had consecutive 100 total yard outings to start his career. They were both against pretty poor matchups. Well, guess what? Poor defenses. The Jags fit that category. They're allowing 138 total yards per game to opposing running backs, 10th most. Back-to-back opponents have run for more than 120 yards against this team, and 4 straight have scored rushing touchdowns. So, potentially here, against this team, it's a very good matchup for Zonovan Knight. The problem is, again, the offensive line, if you can trust it or not. You have that. The angle here through the air. Garrett Wilson. You think they're trying to get him Offensive Rookie of the Year? I kind of think the same thing.
Well, plus he's had 78 yards 4 games in a row, too.
Yep. And in Zach Wilson's last 4 starts, Garrett has produced games of 115, 95, and 98 yards. He did have a 12-yard stink bomb in there as well. You pointed this out, though, Pauly. He's notched at least 78 yards in 6 of his last 7. And recently, number 1 starting receiver, CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra St. Brown, each went over 100 yards in the last 3 games against the Jags defense. There's that angle. Zay Jones coming off that 3-touchdown performance last week. 4 overall in his last 2 games. He has eclipsed 100 yards twice in his last 4 outings. However, the Jets secondary has surrendered only 13 passing touchdowns, tied for the second fewest on the entire year. And think about this. They allowed 1 receiver to score from the Lions, the Bills, and the Vikings in their last 3 games. So we're talking about Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, and the Detroit passing attack. 1 receiver has scored against this defense in the last 3. That's unbelievable. Here to pay off the tease. Here's the guy who you might want to go to war with tonight. And I can't believe the resurgence here with this guy's career. How about Evan Ingram at tight end? Over the past 6 games, we talked about this with Lawrence. He's averaging 280 yards and 14 touchdowns, only 1 INT. Well, Ingram leads all tight ends in targets, receptions, yards, and touchdowns over the past 3 games. Can you believe that?
Wow.
And tight ends have been able to perform well against the Jets defense. They allow the 13th most yards and 8th most receptions overall. And don't forget, C.J. Mosley on the year has been okay, but he allowed big plays over the course of the season, and he gave up receptions of at least 20 yards in the last 6 games, including a 51-yard touchdown last week. So the matchup, he's hot, Ingram is, and the matchup is there for that to continue in this game.
You could really have a big ticket cash for first touchdown of the game, too. There's several candidates here.
I would totally agree with that.
That could happen as well.
Now, we're running this down, and this is like, if this was in September and the weather was perfect, there'd be a scenario here where you'd be getting points. But, again, it's a totally different story potentially tonight.
I can't tell you how excited I am for this weekend. This is one of the coldest weekends in terms of what you have and how many games are affected by weather we're ever going to see. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
When can you look at an entire slate of a day of games and say weather? Oh,
Yeah.
Again, this is nuts, and it starts tonight.
At one point this week, we had 8 games on the NFL board where the total was below 40. I think it's now 7.
Right. Fascinating thing about that is, and it starts tonight too, and I look at it, I know a couple of guys who study the interception props. What does that do? I mean, does the wind take the ball? Maybe you don't want to throw the ball as much, and what does that do? Like, for example, Zach Wilson is $2 tonight to throw an interception.
Wow.
But when you factor in the elements and wind and snow and rain and cold, not to mention you could have a perfect pass, but so damn cold, it's like catching a rock and the guy, wide receiver blows it and it's picked off.
Sure.
I mean, you could have a ton of turnovers Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, and that's when it comes to the quarterback props. We saw that with Lawrence moments ago, right? With better weather, I'm sure it'd be a little bit higher than where it is right now. Good defense again tonight. Right. But most of these quarterbacks that are playing in these games, they're not going to have very high totals.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, what do you think's going to happen in that Browns-Saints game?
Sure. And that's another, we'll hear from Lombardi coming up. But that's another thing. You're not kicking 50-yard field goals with that's like kicking a rock. That's a cement block.
Give me
that's why what Gay did was so incredible Monday to make it from 55. You can't kick when it's this cold.
Oh, some coaches probably will.
They're out of their minds then. I mean, for Jeff, if this is very important with the totals, 4 downs got to be in play. You're not kicking 50-yard field goals when it's 10 below. Stupid.
I'm trying to think of coaches right now who love kicking field goals if they're playing in any cold weather this week. Lions are playing in Carolina. Your boy Campbell loves kicking them from 50-plus. Hackett, they're playing it indoors against the Rams. Nothing he likes better than on the road being in a spot where he kick a 60-yarder for the win.
Would Allen do it? Stefanski won't. He goes for it.
Yeah, he goes for it quite a bit.
Right, even though he's got a guy with a leg. But you can't be doing stuff like that.
No, that's definitely...
Bill's Bass has a big leg, but McDermott goes for it. He's aggressive.
Yep.
I mean, just come on. Plus, it's that's why I think not just what's happened the last 4 games. Henry should run all over the Texans. You want to tackle that guy in 5 degrees? How bruising and punishing he is. He runs angry.
Yeah, here's what I'd say about that game. I know. So Willis had 50 yards passing, you said, the first time they played?
Yeah, he was 6 of 10 for 50 yards.
I would put 9 guys. Forget 8. I'd put 9 guys in the box. And just say, hey, man, you're not going to beat us in the air. We know you can't beat us in the air.
Have a design package for him, too.
That's the thing.
Get him and run.
Here's what I would ask you. For people who can't wait to bet the Henry prop to go over, regardless of the number, do you think Willis takes away from the running yards from Henry? That's a possibility. Because he loves to take off, and they could design more stuff for him, thinking, look, I mean, the Texans, I mean, you're grown adults here. You're embarrassed by this.
Yeah.
You have to have some pride.
Well, it also could be a Matt Patricia special, too. It could be a ton of screen passes. Which that guy coming downhill with blockers, good luck. I would do that ad nauseum.
Okay. Just
screen him to death. Make it easy for the kid. I love him, by the way. I love them. Down to 3. It's outrageous.
You love the Titans?
Is there a 5-point difference between Tannehill and Willis? But no, because I'll say Tannehill was compromised and couldn't even move Sunday. So what was Tannehill going to give you if he was even out there? At least Willis can move.
Are you concerned at all of how the Texans are playing the last couple of games?
I don't think that's going to work in the bad weather. No, they've showed some guts the last couple of weeks.
Right. They have.
I can't ignore the fact that a guy's had 200 yards rushing 4 straight games against you.
Okay, if you're still alive in Survivor, are you using them? Is it like a snap call? You're not going to consider another team?
Well, it depends. I mean, you don't have much to work with, though.
No, you don't. That's the key.
It's Cleveland. It's Minnesota. It's Pittsburgh. I'd take Tennessee over Pittsburgh.
How about the Minnesota number now? Up to 4.5
right.
in some spots.
I look at the Vikings, right.
You would look at Pittsburgh, you said?
Well, because of the time of the game. I could do that, too.
Yeah, that
how many guys, because Tennessee might lose. And then you're thinking, oh, my God, we're down to maybe 6 people, 5 people.
Right.
And I can just,
my ticket at that point is worth $1 million.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you could use the Pittsburgh game. But if I don't, none of people have them left. But I would think Minnesota or Minnesota, Tennessee, or Cleveland.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.